Now, as we began earlier, we were explaining to you that there is often a gap between who you've become vibrationally and what you've let manifest, because you're not vibrationally up to speed with everything that you've asked for. It's the whole conversation that we just had. So you've got to be ready for what you put into the vortex before what you put into the vortex can manifest in your experience. You can't just keep asking for it from a place of knowing what you don't want. You eventually have to become a vibrational match to the part of it that you do want, which you never are in the beginning, because knowing what you don't want is what caused you to ask for what you do want. So it's logical that you would be more a vibrational match. It's logical that you might even be talking about money more from a place of not having enough than from a place of having enough. It's logical that you might be talking about more ease from a place of wanting it but not having it than from a place of really having it. In other words, don't you always know more clearly what you do want when you're living what you don't want? Isn't that when you begin thinking more about health, when your health is diminished in some way? It's the beauty of the contrasting world in which you are living. It's what you came to experience the benefit of. So our friend is talking about how he's put all of these things into his vortex, and he's acknowledging the reality of it. And he's even explaining to us that through trying to feel good, he's been in his vortex. That's the terminology that we've been offering for the last year or two. Get in the vortex, meaning get up to speed. Talk about what you want and why you want it. Do your best to be a vibrational match to what you do want. However, if you are doing a good job of being a vibrational match to what you do want, then this natural thing happens. When you bring yourself up to speed with the vibration of your vortex, then what's in the vortex that is vibrational in nature flows into your experience where you can interpret it in manifestational ways. And we are calling that, it's moving from the vortex into your grid, because the grid is the way we are defining your point of attraction. It's your manifested point of attraction. The grid is you readying yourself. I'm going to make myself ready for what I've been asking for, because I want more money, but I don't have enough. Well, then my grid is not up to speed with what I'm asking for. And every day I beat the drum of not enough money or not enough ease, then I hold myself in vibrational discord to what's in the vortex. But when you hold yourself in vibrational accord to what's in the vortex, then just like water flows downhill, what's in the vortex begins to manifest in your experience. And the best way of explaining that to you is when you're ready for what's in there, then you begin to vibrationally interpret in a way that you were not vibrationally interpreting before. A fairly good analogy is, you know how your dog can hear things you can't hear and smell things you don't want to smell? Your dog has keener senses than you do. Well, you want to activate or make more keen your sense of awareness of what's in the vortex. You want to raise your vibrational frequency. And when you raise your vibrational frequency, things will occur to you that wouldn't occur to you when your frequency was lower. So when you get up to speed with what's in the vortex, the path for manifestation just lights up all over the place. And you feel like you're on a magic carpet ride where everywhere you go, there's something else that's leading and something else that's leading. The most significant thing that we want to give to you is that, and Esther's been thinking about this quite a bit lately too, is that so you do your vortex work or you do your grid work, and we're going to talk a lot today about how to do this good grid work so that you can bring yourself up to speed with who you are. And then it feels like a manifestation is occurring. So you follow it because it feels like the path of least resistance. It's like something I thought I wanted reveals itself, so I want to follow the path out. And as I follow the path a little bit, or a little bit, or a little bit further, or a little bit further, sometimes it doesn't reveal itself to be the perfect path in all the ways that I thought that it would be. But it was the path of least resistance. It was the path, and hear this is so much what we want you to hear.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
It's the path that is not only or not necessarily leading you to the dream job, but it's the path that's leading you to the contrast that is necessary to lead to the dream job. If you could build a bridge that says, this is a temporary thing that I'm doing in order to hold myself in a place that I can keep my promises to my creditors and that I can satisfy myself with the things that I want, and that more and more a satisfying way for money to flow will come to me. Because if you stand in a place where you say, I want more money, but I'm unwilling to do the action things that I know that bring money, now it isn't the action or the non-action, it's the contradiction in the energy. I want this, but I'm not willing. But when you say, I want this, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to come into alignment to get what I want, there's a helpfulness in that willingness. But then you say, but I'm contradicting myself because, Abraham, you're teaching me that I can do this through the power of thought. And we tried to clear that up with you in the first moment that you said that. We're not teaching you that action is not part of it. We're teaching you that action isn't the most important part of it, that the alignment is, and that it's possible for you to come into alignment so that the action that is then required of you by the filling of the vortex into the grid is action that you will be really thrilled in the offering of. There isn't one of you who doesn't want to act. You do. You want to act. And there isn't one of you who wouldn't revel in inspired action over required action. They are very different actions. But if you don't take the time to do the grid work, the inspired action doesn't come. And when it's required action, you get burned out really, really fast. Yes. But when it's inspired action, then you can't stay up long enough, and you can't get up early enough, and you can't talk about it enough, you see. When it's inspired action, the whole of the universe is flowing with you into this poignant moment. Most humans do not allow themselves the feeling of standing in a moment in time, focused upon something that they care about, having cleaned up their vibration so that the energy that creates worlds is flowing through them in this moment, so that every intelligent consciousness that knows anything about what you're talking about or thinking about or engaging about is flowing with you and through you in that moment. That is co-creation at its best, you see. But you got to line up with that energy. And you got to know when you're not lined up with it and know when you are lined up with it, and then just keep leaning toward the lined up with it until after a while it becomes really easy. You can tell the offness of something almost instantaneously. There are a couple of things that we want to ask of you. You were really good, by the way. Your answers were in keeping with the vibration. You were not saying one thing and meaning another. So we want to follow that trend just a little bit and ask a few more things of you. Do you believe that there is value in contrast? Do you believe that out of the contrast will come greater clarity?
Yes.
And that greater clarity is easily satisfied once you do the grid work? Now, the easily is the part that you were stumbling over just a little bit. Yeah. But do you believe now, does it feel easier to you now than it did just a little bit ago?
Yes.
Does it feel to you that you've come into resonance with understanding your own power?
Yes.
And can you relax a little bit as you stand in contrast right now without money flowing in the way that you want it to? Can you embrace that as a good thing, not a bad thing?
Yes.
Can you let this moment in time not feel like struggle, but feel like clarity? Because if this moment in time, with this contrasting experience, if you can stop beating up on yourself because you didn't get it right the first crack out of the box, if instead you can say, oh, this didn't go the way I wanted it to, but it's all right because I'm still standing here evaluating contrast. That's the peace that we're wanting you to find in this. So often, as you listen to us for a while, and you want to be deliberate creators, and you want to do the grid work, and you tried to get in the vortex, and you're trying to pay attention to the way you feel, and you're making an effort to be more the person that you want to be. And then when something that you thought you wanted doesn't turn out right now the way you wanted it to, then that second guessing starts happening. Then you start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? And if instead you can say, I didn't do anything wrong, this contrast is part of what's right. This contrast is part of the clarifying thing. It's part of the clarification that is helping me to identify more clearly what it is I do want. If we could just convince you that you want a creative plethora of opportunities to pull from. You don't want limited ones. And the contrast is just filling in the colors and the textures and the opportunities, you see. if we could zap you with something, and of course we can't, but we can know it so strongly that as you're willing to listen to us for a while, you'll begin to get it. You are in a really, really good place. You're asking really, really good questions. Your desire is really focused in a strong way. And this conversation that we've had, which was solely offered to soothe any angst you have about being in a wrong place, that's what every process that we've ever offered has always been about. To soothe your angst about any wrongness that you've done, because you're not doing anything wrong by standing in a place you don't want to stand in. When you're standing in a place you don't want to stand in, you're firing off rockets that are going to serve you. And if you can revel in the contrast and appreciate the variety, instead of condemning your lack of wisdom to be in a better place right here and right now, if we could parade before you just the masters that you have revered as a culture, every one of them would tell you, I wouldn't give up one miserable moment, because every one of them helped me become who I ultimately am. Alignment is alignment. So once life has caused you to parlay what your desire into the vortex, and it's at this high-flying frequency, which we will call resistance-free, when you find alignment with that, for the moment of that positive emotion, you're in alignment. And we would not talk about degrees of alignment in that regard. But we would talk about degrees of alignment in this way. Some subjects you line up easily, some subjects you don't. In every case, even though alignment is perfect, there will be further expansion and the alignment won't hold. So you are constantly reaching for that alignment. It's like something's going on with the soundboard here, and Esther is wearing a wireless mic that is getting some resistance from somewhere. They're not sure if it's something that's being broadcast somewhere on the premises or if it's a failure of a piece of equipment. And so they have this backup hardwire that is not dependent upon the airport. It's coming through a more secure channel, so to speak. And so they're constantly reaching. They will isolate it. They will figure it out. But sometimes it takes some exposure to some experience in order to figure it out. And in the process, they will come to a better system yet. In other words, often what looks like a hindrance or what looks like a mistake or what looks like something unwanted leads you to something that is even more satisfying. This microphone has much better tone than the other one. Esther's going to like that when she listens back to the recording. That's an advantage that she didn't see coming, you see. And so maybe the best way to answer your question is that what you're aligning to keeps getting higher.
Gotcha.
But your in-the-moment alignment can only be to what it is when it's there.
Gotcha. Got it.
It won't stand still.
Got it.
And that brings us around
Gotcha.
to making the statement about the fun of life. The fun of life is reaching for that ever-changing higher frequency and meeting it. Can you hear that? Don't you just love there being something more for you? Don't you love the feeling of desire? And isn't moving to the fruition of the desire the most exciting part? And once you get there, it's good for a little while, but not for a long while. Aren't you glad that it keeps moving? Aren't you glad that your standards keep changing? Aren't you glad that there's more for you to reach for?
Yes.
Aren't you glad that you know how to do it? Aren't you glad that you can feel when you do it? And aren't you glad that there's more and more and more? It's the mantra of the universe, more. We are eternal beings. And if there is not more, we cannot be eternal. And we assure you, there is more and we are all eternal, you see. So the fun is in the recognizing the frequency and feeling happy in our awareness of the discord. I've got negative emotion. Ooh, how good is that? Something to want, something to bring into alignment. I'm proud of myself for my awareness that there's more alignment right now that I can achieve, and I can do it right now. I can do it right now. I can do it right now because I have the power of going general, and I have the power of aligning with who I am. And when you do, the